Hi everyone, Heloise here. I thought I'll jump on here and just quickly discuss a topic which has been gathering a lot of debate on my eToro page. And I thought I'll just try all the means possible to clarify the discussion that is going on. So, the topic I'm going to be talking about is the fund deposit which happened into my account on the 1st of July. And a lot of you have been commenting around why such a big amount and why such short notice. Hopefully, once I explain why I did it this way, you'll understand that it was a well thought through decision and that I do have a good justification for doing it. So, let me begin by explaining why I made the deposit. The deposit was made on the 1st of July with about a week's notice, and then saying that I won't be using the funds until the 6th of July. And it came down to about 64% of my original amount. So the reason I made the deposit at this point in the market cycle and in my portfolio is for two main reasons. One is I was also announcing that I became a full-time popular investor in July, and so to solidify that commitment to my copiers, I thought it would be a good signal to deposit a significant amount of my personal funds into the account because a lot of people were also asking, is it a good time to deposit? And the second reason I did it was because, as you know, if you've been copying me or following me for a long time, you'll know that my core investment philosophy is around a few very simple rules, one of them being dollar cost averaging or monthly deposits into your portfolio. If you've been following me for a long time, you might remember, or you may have joined me even in making those monthly deposits every month. I've subsequently started making them into a secondary account, but I have continued making them because I think a lot of people use that as a route to their financial freedom. It's really old, it's really simple, but it's a very powerful tool. And so, because of that, I've also been writing for the last 6 or 7 months about reminding everybody to make regular deposits because the market is down and because I think it is a good time to deposit. And so, the second reason I made the deposit was exactly that, practicing what I was preaching to all my copiers and followers, was to deposit money into the account because I genuinely believe that it is a good time. The market is down, there's a lot of opportunities going into the second half of the year, and so I wanted to be ready to take advantage of that. How I did the deposit is, I think, what is creating a lot of the debate. And I did it in quite close consultation with eToro because it was a large amount. And so I wanted to do it in a way that would be sort of acceptable or kind of not disadvantaging many of my copiers. And so I made the decision to give very short notice for the deposit, and there was a very clear reason for doing this. The reason for doing it was because I was very conscious about everything else going on in the world. Firstly, we have 40-year high inflation. There's almost no country escaping this. So I was conscious that my copiers are from around the world. A lot of my copiers are also from Europe, where we're currently experiencing the cost of living crisis. And so the decision for giving the short notice for such a large amount of deposit was simply because I did not want to put any pressure on any of my copiers to feel that they had to deposit into the copy at this point, giving everything else that's going on. And I felt that by giving a longer notice period, people may feel even more pressure to save up for that deposit in a time when it's really difficult for everybody, and you really have to evaluate your own personal circumstances and whether this is the right thing for you to do at this point, given everything else that's going on. So that was the main motivation, was to try and alleviate the pressure from my copiers so that they don't feel that they have to deposit at this point in time. if you are not able to deposit, that's absolutely fine. What will happen is that the cash balance that was available before I deposited the money will be used in the same proportion as I use the existing cash balance going forward. Now, that might create a bit of desyncing in the portfolio in the short term, but for a long term portfolio like this one, where we're talking about 5 to 10 year time horizon, the desyncing should only be a couple of months as I turn over positions. And so, on a long term period like that, it really should not make a significant difference on the copy performance. And so, yeah, that was really the decision. Was I didn't want people to feel pressure to deposit. Of course, if down the line you feel that you have the means or you want to continue depositing, I always encourage that. I will continue to do that in my secondary investments accounts going forward monthly. I still think it's a brilliant time. I still think if you have any funds available, you'll definitely regret looking back in a few years that you did not get it into the stock market at this point. And so the next question is, if you didn't add funds with us before the 6th of July, can you still add funds? Based on what I just said, absolutely. It's my core investment philosophy, and I always encourage my copiers to do the same. So if you haven't added, or if you're not able to add the same proportion, don't choose copy open trades. That would allow you to put any amount that you can, and just continue to add as and when you are able to do so, given whatever is going on in your life. And that brings me to my next point, and that is feedback about me not participating in the comments that have been going on my feed. So I've written about this before, but I will clarify it and explain it here again. So there's obviously a lot of comments that happen on my page. I've spoken to a lot of other elite pros about it. As wonderful as the eToro social feed is for creating these debates, it's not necessarily always the best means for communication for somebody with a large copier base. And what has specifically been happening on my page, and I think it happens with a lot of others, is that if you didn't know this, I can't delete any copies on my feed. So if anybody makes a comment, I can't delete it. However, I can flag it to the eToro team. So if it's really inappropriate, if it's got a link to something that I think is inappropriate or is a scam, I'll usually report that to the eToro team, but I can't delete it myself. Of course, I can delete my own comments, but I never do that. I've never done that, simply because what would be the point of me spending time to create those comments or posts in the first place? So if I do make an edit, I'll make a small note at the bottom saying that I've edited it. However, there has been some feedback about comments of mine that have disappeared, and this is part of the reason why I've made the decision not to participate in the comment section, because simply what happens is if somebody makes a comment and I comment on that comment, if for whatever reason the original poster of the comment decides to delete their comment, so does all the subthreads disappear, because there's nothing for them to attach to. And so that has been happening. Whenever I reply to somebody's comment by commenting on it, if they decide to delete it, it also disappears. So for that very simple reason of efficiency of my time, I have decided not to comment on comments anymore, because if anybody does delete their comment, then my hard work also disappears. And I think we will all agree that the most important thing for a popular investor to spend their time on is the analysis and the management of the portfolio. And then secondary to that, equally important, not less important, but secondary to that would be communication to the copiers. And so for that reason, I usually answer any questions which I feel is very pressing or important for everybody to know in subsequent posts that I make, because that way I'm sure that they won't be deleted. And so just to address this fact generally, I'm very excited to announce I'm the only popular investor that I know of that has done this, but I'm very excited to announce my own Copier Survey. This will be independent of eToro. It'll be purely managed by me and my team. And the main objective of this would be to try and streamline my communications going forward. I believe I have been very thorough in the last year, trying to be active on all the social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm nearly available on all the channels for you to reach me. The difficulty in that is that I'm almost spreading myself too thin. It becomes difficult to manage, and so I would like to make the communications efficient going forward. And so to make sure that I address as many of your needs by doing that, I will be releasing a copier survey. That will be just for me to get feedback on what my copiers are expecting. Of course, as you know, copy trading and being an elite pro popular investor is a very new, exciting, and developing field, but it also means that we have a lot of scope to develop it. And so I would really like to get your input on what you are expecting from an elite pro popular investor. So do look out for that. It'll only be going out through my newsletter because it will have some things which are independent of my eToro services. So if you want to participate in that, make sure that you click on my link and sign up for my newsletter. It'll be going out in August, but I will keep reminding you to sign up for it. And with that, I will say goodbye for now, and thanks for tuning in.